Hi, everyone, and welcome to our presentation on self-advocacy put on by San Diego City College's Student Health Center. My name's Adriana.
And my name is Miles.
So let's get into it. What is self-advocacy? An individual's ability to effectively communicate, convey, negotiate, or assert his or her own rights, desires, needs, interests. It involves making informed decisions and taking responsibility for those decisions. And we want you to think about this. How have you advocated for yourself before? And then how did you feel, or what did you notice as a result?
So as you all ponder on those two reflection questions, we're going to give you some tips to help with advocating for yourself. So the first tip is being self-aware. So in order to truly advocate for yourself, we need to really know ourselves. So this includes knowing what we're really good at and what we're not so good at, and being able to explore and really dive deep into our strengths and weaknesses and interests and skills and the values and our dreams. It's going to really open up sometimes things that we didn't even know that are important about our own identities. So the second tip is connected to this first one. So knowing your needs. So after we've opened up ourselves and we're more aware of ourselves, now we get to kind of understand our needs. So exploring the different areas where we can assess our needs is really going to be important. And some of these areas include daily living, your school and work, your health, whether that's physical or mental, the relationships you have, the recreation and leisure time that you spend, and then also your spirituality and what you feel your purpose in life is. And at the same time, we can go to the next slide. There's going to be three components where we can kind of assess for if our needs are being met. So the first one is going to be emotional. Are we being validated? Do we feel like we're being listened to? And are we being offered that empathy? And sometimes it's that intimate relationship that we need others to have these type of emotional expressions. The second component is physical and social. So are we healthy physically, mentally, as I talked about before? Do we have some contact with family and friends that we want, especially right now during the pandemic? That might be a little harder for others, as well as affection. That might be a huge loss for some. And having access to certain environments, a big thing for those students who were enrolled and attending City before the pandemic was losing access to the campus. That was a big support for many students as well as the faculty. And that last component is economical. So these needs are the basic needs like food, water, shelter, safety, security, same thing. Transportation, childcare, maybe elder care, emergency assistance, and of course our finances. So think about it. Are your needs being met? If not, then where can we kind of go from there? We're going to talk about that. So the third tip is practicing assertiveness. So assertiveness is one of the three communication styles. The first one, or one of them, is aggressiveness. Another is passive communication, and the more ideal one that we should all strive for is being assertive when we communicate. And doesn't necessarily mean that we're aggressively making our demands. It's making respectful demands, being respectful of what we want, what we need, as well as being respectful in how we communicate that to others. So it does mean knowing our rights and vocalizing our needs. And a huge part is taking responsibility for ourselves and not expecting others to make those decisions for us. So the fourth tip, this is not the fourth tip. So connected to assertive communication and asserting ourselves is setting healthy boundaries. We have to assert our boundaries. We have to sometimes say no to unwanted support. We have to use those boundaries that we set. And these boundaries that are set, they got to be clear, and they have to match up with our values and what we want and what we need. But these boundaries that we do set, they're going to guide our actions. And if they're not guiding our actions, I want you to keep this in mind. You can't expect anyone to accept your boundaries if you don't respect them yourself. Let that kind of sit. So this fourth tip, developing a support system. Support is important, whether that is one person that we have or a whole neighborhood and community of support. But here at City, we want you all to know that you do have support, even if it's just from the school itself. But outside of that, you may have friends, you may have family, you may have mentors, advisors, some faculty that may act as your support system. Being able to identify that and identify if you need more in these support areas is very important. And the fifth tip, that is going to be setting goals. And after this, we're going to do a little goal setting activity to help you with all this. But setting goals is important because as we learn all the tips that came before this, we got to put it into a plan that's going to take us to where we want to be, where we need to be. So taking ownership, not only of our short-term goals, but also the long-term goals is going to be important to reaching our hopes and our dreams. And keep it in mind that these goals have to be specific, measurable, and have a time limit. So let's keep that in mind.
And with all of that, we also wanted to provide some resources for you guys. The first is going to be the first link that you see, the Campus and Community Support Resources, is going to be a guide that has health and medical resources and also food resources, housing resources. It really just is a nice resource to have that you can look over. We also have a basic needs resource guide. You can visit the website here and it will show you like when our next hunger event is. That gives out food to students at no cost, which is a lot important, especially right now during this pandemic. Also on campus, we have the Math Center and the English Center. We have their information here and also their contact emails, but they both provide tutors and additional resources to support you. On campus too, we have academic counseling. There you can do an education plan and really set some academic goals, whether it's to receive a certificate or transfer to a four-year college or receive a degree or just take a class for fun. Whatever you're going to school for, they can help assist that journey. We also have career counseling to help you decide what you want that journey to be, what you want to do with your career. And both of these resources are available on a virtual level, virtually. We also have our Student Health Center, which is comprised of the Mental Health Counseling Center and the Student Health Clinic. The Mental Health Counseling Center, you can get a hold of us by sending us an email at citymhcc@sdccd.edu. That's the best way. You can also give us a call. We can set you up with one of our counselors for therapy sessions. We provide case management, and really you can just reach out for whatever mental health concerns you have. We also have a student health clinic, which is going to be your physical health side of things. They are able to do provide some care for like labs, and they're offering telemedicine. So all of this, both the mental health counseling center and the student health center have virtual are meeting virtual right now. If you're interested in information on groups and events that are upcoming, you can visit the San Diego City College calendar and join us for one of our events.
Those are some awesome resources. Thanks, Jenna. So we want to leave you. Well, before we leave you, we want to do this goal setting activity. And I want to ask that if you can, go ahead and grab a piece of paper and a pen. And feel free during this activity to pause if you want to, write something down real quick or even catch up. So go ahead and split the paper in half. And at the top of the first half, I want you to write setting goals. And on the bottom half, you can title that obstacles and strategies. So for that first section, setting goals, under that, you're gonna write down something you want to accomplish in the next week. And then something you want to accomplish in the next month. And then something you want to accomplish in the next year. And lastly, something you want to accomplish in 5 years. And then that next section, obstacles and strategies, write these things down. So obstacles that might get in the way of you reaching your goals. And this could be all the goals that you listed on the top half. And then under that, things that you're gonna need to do to achieve your goals. And then lastly, what you can begin doing tomorrow to work towards those goals. And as you're doing this activity, I want you to keep in mind everything that Adriana and I said, even from the resources, knowing that you have counselors available, mental health, and just academic counseling to help you identify some goals that you have, whether that's professionally or personally. And then also the tips that I mentioned, being assertive in knowing your needs and being aware of some of the obstacles that are in your way, even if it's an obstacle that is projected by yourself. We got to be true in making this play. So I hope that was helpful. That's all we have for y'all, and I want to wish you all a great semester.
Thank you for joining us.